Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel Motivational Minutes. This video is about Buddha, the founder of Buddhism, one of the major religions and philosophical systems of the world. In this video, we will explore who Buddha was, what he taught, and why he is revered by millions of people today. Before going forward, request you to kindly hit the like button and subscribe my channel Motivational Minutes for getting more interesting videos which will always keep you motivated. Buddha was born with the name Siddhartha Gautama in the 6th or 5th century BC in what is now Nepal. He was a prince of the Shakya clan, a small kingdom that was part of the Kosal Empire. His father was King Suddhodna and his mother was Queen Maya. According to legend, his birth was marked by miraculous signs and prophecies. A sage named Asita predicted that he would either become a great king or a great spiritual leader. Siddhartha grew up in a life of luxury and privilege, shielded from the suffering and hardship of the outside world. He was married to a beautiful princess named Yashodhara and had a son named Rahula. However, he was not satisfied with his worldly pleasures and felt a sense of emptiness and curiosity. One day, he decided to venture outside the palace walls and see the reality of life. He encountered four sights that changed his perspective: an old man, a sick man, a dead man, and a wandering ascetic. He realized that everyone is subject to old age, sickness, death, and suffering, and that he too would face these inevitable realities. He also saw that the ascetic had renounced worldly attachments and was seeking a way to overcome suffering. Siddhartha was deeply moved by these sights and decided to follow the example of the ascetic. He left his palace, his family, his wealth, and his power behind and became a homeless wanderer. He joined a group of other seekers who were practicing various forms of meditation and asceticism. He learned from different teachers and mastered their techniques. He also subjected himself to extreme forms of self-mortification, such as fasting, holding his breath, and exposing himself to heat and cold. He hoped that by doing so, he would purify his mind and attain liberation from suffering. However, after 6 years of rigorous practice, he realized that he was not getting any closer to his goal. He was weak, exhausted, and near death. He decided to abandon his extreme methods and adopt a more balanced approach. He accepted some food from a village girl named Sujata and regained his strength. He then sat under a large fig tree near the town of Bodh Gaya in India and resolved not to get up until he had found the truth. He entered into deep meditation and gradually attained higher levels of concentration and insight. He recalled his previous lives and saw the cycle of birth and death that all beings are trapped in. He saw how beings are driven by ignorance, craving, and karma to suffer endlessly in various realms of existence. He also saw how to overcome these causes of suffering and achieve freedom from the cycle. He realized the four noble truths: that there is suffering, that there is a cause of suffering, that there is an end of suffering, and that there is a path to end suffering. He also realized the noble eightfold path, the way of right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. He understood that by following this path, one can cultivate wisdom, morality, and meditation, and ultimately attain nirvana, the state of peace and bliss beyond all suffering. He had become a Buddha, an awakened one who has discovered the truth for himself and can teach it to others. He had achieved enlightenment, the highest goal of human life. He spent 7 weeks near the tree where he had attained enlightenment, enjoying his newfound freedom and contemplating his next move. He wondered whether he should share his discovery with others or keep it to himself. He thought that his teaching would be too subtle and profound for most people to understand or appreciate. However, he was persuaded by a divine being named Brahma Sahmapti to have compassion for those who are still suffering in ignorance. He decided to dedicate the rest of his life to teaching others the way to enlightenment. He set out for Sarnath, where he met his former companions, who had left him when he had given up asceticism. They were amazed by his radiant appearance and serene demeanor. They listened to him as he delivered his first sermon, in which he explained the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, the essence of his teachings. This sermon is known as the Dhammacakka Pavatana Sutta, or the Discourse on Setting in Motion the Wheel of Dharma. His former companions became his first disciples and attained various levels of realization. The Buddha then traveled to Uruvela, where he converted a group of fire worshipping ascetics led by three brothers named Kassapa. He performed a series of miracles to convince them of his superior power and wisdom. He then taught them the doctrine of dependent origination, or the principle that all phenomena arise and cease in dependence on causes and conditions. He also taught them the doctrine of anatta, or no self, which denies the existence of a permanent and independent self or soul. He showed them how to attain nirvana by extinguishing the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion. The Buddha continued to wander throughout northern India, teaching his doctrine to anyone who was willing to listen. He attracted a large following of monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen from various backgrounds and walks of life. He established a monastic order called the Sangha, which became the main vehicle for preserving and propagating his teachings. He laid down rules and regulations for the conduct and discipline of the monastic community. He also encouraged his followers to practice generosity, morality, meditation, and wisdom in their daily lives. The Buddha encountered many challenges and difficulties during his ministry. He faced opposition and hostility from some Brahmins who resented his criticism of their rituals and caste system. He faced rivalry and jealousy from some other religious teachers who tried to discredit him or convert his followers. He faced threats and attacks from some kings and bandits who wanted to harm him or his disciples. He faced doubts and disputes from some of his own followers who misunderstood or misinterpreted his teachings. The Buddha also experienced joy and satisfaction during his ministry. He met many old friends and relatives who became his devoted disciples. He met many new people who became his loyal supporters and benefactors. He met many wise and compassionate beings who became his spiritual friends and allies. He witnessed many miracles and wonders that confirmed his enlightenment and power. He saw many people attain various stages of realization and liberation through his guidance and inspiration. The Buddha spent 45 years teaching and traveling throughout northern India. He visited many places that are now considered sacred by Buddhists, such as Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, Rajgir, Nalanda, Shravasti, Kushinagar, Lumbini, Kapilvastu, Vaishali, Sankasya, Kosambi, Uruvela, Savatthi, Wesley, etc. He taught various discourses that are now collected in the Buddhist scriptures known as the Tipitaka or the Three Baskets, the Vinaya Pitaka, the Basket of Discipline, the Sutta Pitaka, the Basket of Discourses, and the Abhidhamma Pitaka, the Basket of Higher Teachings. The Buddha passed away at the age of 80 in Kushinagar, a small town in what is now Uttar Pradesh in India. He had fallen ill after eating some spoiled food offered by a blacksmith named Kunda. He knew that his time had come and instructed his attendant Ananda to prepare a couch for him between two sal trees. He lay down on his right side with his head facing north. He addressed his disciples for the last time and urged them to be diligent and mindful in their practice. He said, "Behold now, bhikkhus, monks, I exhort you, all compounded things are subject to decay. Strive with earnestness." These were his last words before he entered into a series of meditative absorptions called the four jhanas, Pali or dhyana, Sanskrit. He then passed through four higher states called the four formless attainments. Finally, he attained parinirvana or final nirvana, the complete cessation of all mental formations and physical processes. His body was cremated by his disciples according to his instructions. His relics were divided into 8 portions and distributed among 8 clans who built stupas or monuments over them. Later, these relics were further divided and enshrined in various places throughout Asia. The Buddha's life and teachings have inspired countless people throughout history and across cultures. His message of peace, compassion, wisdom, and liberation has resonated with millions of seekers who have followed his path or admired his example. His legacy. Thank you for watching this video. Buddha's story always inspired in every generation. If you like this video or it's inspired, you then please hit the like button and subscribe my channel Motivational Minutes